Hey, everybody. Okay, this is crazy, 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 crazy. I am currently messing around with this. Hold on. I am currently live on LinkedIn. Shout out to all my LinkedIn followers. Live on YouTube. Shout out to all my YouTube followers. And live on TikTok. Shout out to all my TikTok followers. This is crazy. So I'm testing out being able to go live on all three platforms and trying to fix my account. There we go. Trying to fix it all. I have two cameras in front of me, all this crazy technology set up. And what I'm trying to do is answer as many career and job search questions as I can. So when I'm looking back and forth, you know what's going on. I'm answering your questions. Shout out to everybody that's on here. If you do have a question and you want me to answer them, what I want you to do is put them in the chat. I'm going to do my very best to answer as many questions as I possibly can over the next hour. So welcome to my lives. I try to go live 3 to 5 times a week, schedule permitting. It's a little hard these days with everything that's going on. It's a very busy working world, but I'm always happy when I'm here with all of you because there is so much that we need to understand about building careers where we earn more, we stress less, and we love what we do. Just so you know, little story. I used to work in the staffing and recruiting industry many years ago. In fact, my last 2 jobs, I ran a $28 million division of a staffing firm out in the Silicon Valley. And then I came back east and ran a $35 million division of a technical staffing company in the greater New England area. Now, it was, to think about that, that was 20 years ago. So those were really, really big divisions. And I worked with so many talented people, many of whom didn't get the job and didn't get any coaching because that's not what recruiters are paid to do. Recruiters are paid to place people. So I really saw an unmet need. I was like, why aren't people getting the coaching? Why aren't we teaching people what they need to know about the hiring process? Why aren't we teaching them what recruiters and hiring managers need from them, what HR needs from them, so that they can do the right things in these interviews and land these great jobs and be less stressed and earn more money and be happier? Like, why are we not doing this? And the simple answer was because nobody was doing it, and because it's not an employer's job, and because schools aren't doing it. And so that is why I decided to hop to the other side 2 decades ago and start a career coaching company. And you fast forward to today, and my whole life's mission has been creating ways for you to get affordable, accessible, timely, correct, and that last word so important, career advice. Because unfortunately, in times like these, where we have lots of scammers going on, I can't believe how many people are putting out their shingle and claiming that they're some sort of job search pro that know nothing about the industry, that have not spent the last 2 decades here working on this like I have, who don't study the industry trends, who don't do their research, and who give, quite frankly, really bad advice. So please, please be careful who you take your career advice from. Not your brother, not your mother, not somebody's friend, not a recruiter that's been a recruiter for a year. Do your homework. You wouldn't go to a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer or an accountant that you didn't feel was fully qualified. Same thing. Your career is one of the most important things in your life, right? It literally dictates to a large degree your happiness. And to not entrust that with people who have really done the work, like, that's just a disservice. So please, I'm just on my soapbox right now telling people, don't go to a resume writer and get scammed for hundreds of dollars. Don't go to reverse recruiters and get scammed for thousands of dollars. Please do your homework and understand what you need in order to succeed, and get it from people who have been doing it for a really long time. Okay. I just got to tell you, it's really, really important that you do that. All right. Enough on my soapbox. What am I answering for you today? I've got people live on TikTok. You're going to see me scrolling around here. I've got people live on LinkedIn. I've got people live on YouTube. If you've got a question, pop it in there and we will go. And we've got our first question of the day from Brandis. How to leverage a job offer to another company interviewing with when company A wants an answer. Okay, folks, this is what we call a good problem to have. And that is, whenever you get into the hiring process and you've got multiple companies you're interviewing with, there's always going to be one company that makes an offer first, and it's usually not the company you want, right? So company B makes an offer, but you really, 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 really want to work for company A. So you're like, how do I leverage this? Well, you better be careful, because you could end up getting offer B rescinded and then offer A never coming down the pike. So let's first of all think this through strategically, okay? This is a big part of what I do at Work It Daily. Whenever you get an offer, you negotiate through that offer and get it to a place where you would accept it. So if company B has made you an offer, You want to say, can I have 24 hours to review it? I want to make sure that I don't have any questions. I want to come back and get everything clarified before I accept. So you give them the impression you're going to accept. Do not say, well, I'm interviewing in some other places and I can't really make a decision right now. That is the fastest way to have an offer rescinded. They don't want to be your second choice, and you just explain to them that they were. Because if they were your first choice, then you'd be accepting on the spot. So that's why we say instead, I'm really excited about this opportunity. I want to go through it top to bottom. I need 24 hours to go through it and make sure I don't have any questions. Then we can come back together. And then once I know everything's answered, I can accept. All right. That's what you're going to say there. You're then going to go over to company A. And again, you can't push their hiring process. Their hiring process is their hiring process. They're going to go at the speed they want to go. And you're going to say to them, I've just been given an offer, but you are my first choice. Can you tell me where I sit in this hiring process? Can you tell me if I'm moving forward or not? Because, obviously I don't want to miss out on this opportunity, but you're my first choice. I really want to get hired with you. That will then, at least they'll tell you and be honest, like, yeah, you're in the running. And they'll usually also say, and by the way, it's going to be like, 3 more weeks until we have a decision. They'll talk to you about the hiring process and you'll say, great. And you'll stay in their hiring process. And then you'll go back and you'll accept offer B. And I'll tell you why, because half the time, company A never makes you an offer. Something happens, you don't make it through. And then if the other half of the time you do get the offer, sometimes it's not what you wanted. It's not as good as the company that you already got a job with. And then if it is really good, you'll make the decision, should I just leave this company after a couple of weeks and move? And people do that sometimes because you have to look out for you. You have to do what's right for you and your business of one. That is just the reality of life. Trust me, if either of these companies hired you and decided 3 weeks later they had to fire you, they would. That's the nature of business. But what you don't do is open up and say, well, I'm interviewing multiple places. I'll get back to you. If I don't get anything better, I'll get back to you. That's how that comes across. So we never, ever, ever say that, okay? We focus on each one like they are the number one, like they are the only person, the only company we're working with, and that they are a number one choice. And we work through that because you just don't know what's really going to happen in this situation, and you have to look out for number one, which is you, okay? Awesome. Yeah. Okay, if you were asked if I'm interested in growing into an executive position and you are, how would you reply? I would reply, heck yeah. Folks, if a company asks if you're interested in growing into a role and you want to say yes, unless you truly don't want to. If you truly don't want to, well, then that's another problem, right? But if you want to, say yes, 100%. They're looking for people that want to grow. That's plain and simple. They want to hear that you want to grow with the company. So yeah, that's a wonderful answer. You don't need to give much more of an answer than that, for sure, for sure. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to take this one from Kim on LinkedIn. Shout out to Kim on LinkedIn. Kim says, I'm getting licensed in property and casualty, life and health, and disability. I have passed a test so far. Looking for companies to potentially work with. I'm making introductions on LinkedIn with talent heads. What are other recommendations? Awesome. Okay. All right. This is such a great example of when you're pivoting careers, when you're trying to get into something new, your resume doesn't really work for you because that's a history of what you've done, not a prediction of what you're going to do. So networking in with people that could hire you is a great step in the right direction, but also validating and providing the evidence that you should be in this industry is equally important. So many of you don't realize, but LinkedIn changed its algorithm about 1.5 years ago. And now it is much more robust in that it doesn't just look at your profile, it's also looking at what you're doing in the LinkedIn feed. And it wants to see that you're an active user of the platform. It's a social media platform. So like any other social media tool, the people that use it more regularly and post more content get more visible. So if you want to be seen by more recruiters, you need to be putting more things in your feed. So I would be posting every single day about things that I'm learning as I'm getting this certification, or observations about the industry, all the things that you would be talking about if you had a job in it. You want to start talking that way. And it doesn't mean that you're saying you're some sort of expert. That's not what I'm referring to. It's simply documenting this info as a way for you to be found by the algorithm. And that's really important because if I was you and I was getting this certification, I would have a bucket list of companies that I would want to work for in the industry. I would be following all those companies on LinkedIn. I would be looking at their LinkedIn feeds every day of those companies. I would be commenting thoughtfully on any of the things they post that made sense where I could add a point of view from the perspective of the type of work that I want to do for them. And then I would be posting on my own feed. And what that does is magically, not magically, algorithmically, right? I'm teasing here, puts you in the path of their recruiters because you're checking all the boxes and the algorithm saying, here's an active user talking about the things relative to the job who follows the company. See how that operates, folks? You know, it's funny. We call it the TikTokification of things. TikTok has changed how we look at everything. We believe that we will be discovered, and we will be, and it's not magic. It's the algorithm pairing us up. And so you have the ability to manipulate proactively what that algorithm can do for you if you understand it. By the way, would you like to learn how to do this step by step? Like, how did I know to just share all that with you? How did I know step by step what to do? Well, first of all, I have been on LinkedIn since the very beginning. I'm also lucky enough to say that I'm one of the original LinkedIn influencers, which are now called Top Voices. When they first started that, they only invited 400 people on the entire platform to do it. And I was lucky enough to be one of them because of how much I researched and shared with job seekers how to leverage LinkedIn. Fast forward to today, I have 2.5 million followers on LinkedIn. I do video advice every day on this. I study the trends. They give me the information in advance. And I am telling you that this algorithmically, this step-by-step process absolutely works. And I know it works because I teach it to my Work It Daily members every single day. So if you would like a step-by-step course, I mean, raise your hand right now. If you would like a step-by-step course that explains how to build your brand on LinkedIn and market yourself strategically to be found by recruiters, you can try my course today and you can have access to it free for 7 days. That's how easy it is. Go over to Work It Daily. The course is there. It's called Brand Mastery. Get access free for 7 days. Watch the course because there is a science to this. It is rooted in a methodology that statistically works because you're checking all the boxes in the way that you need to do it. And no one's teaching it. There's all sorts of people on here giving you hacks and tips and tricks. Nobody's teaching you step by step by step by step what to do so that when you put it all together, it actually works. This is what I mean about making sure that you're getting your job search, career advice, personal branding advice from somebody who's been doing it for a long time and studies it. Because did you know that they changed their algorithm a year and a half ago? You probably did not. Did you know they did it because they now have 1.1 billion users on the platform? Probably not. But I knew it because we study it all the time at Work It Daily. So please, if you want access to that class for free, today's the day to go do it. Right? Go over, get a 7-day free trial, boom, get access and go check out the Brand Mastery course. I promise you, this is going to help you get visible to the recruiters faster. All right. Let's see what else. Let's see. I'm going to take another question from LinkedIn and then I will go over here. James says, why is it I find a bunch of companies are hiring younger into management as opposed to 50-year-olds? It's disturbing to try to find a career in your 50s. Okay. I love this question. All right. Does age discrimination exist? Of course. And it exists both ways. Let me be clear. Okay. If you're an older worker, there's discrimination there. If you're a younger worker, there's discrimination there. Okay. For the folks that are over 50, the first thing you have to fix is this. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's this. Because the moment you start saying, I'm being age discriminated against, you can't change your age. You now play victim. All right. And you are not a victim. You are a talented individual with a lot of unique experience to give. The problem that we have is that people in their 50s market themselves incorrectly. What happens is after many years of building skills, they think default mode is I'm going to go in and be the Jack or Jill of all trades. I'm going to go in and show them all the different things I can do. I am the BMW for the price of a Honda. Nobody believes it when you say you're going to sell them a BMW for the price of a Honda. They say, what's wrong with it? And unfortunately, I am seeing a lot of people in their 50s who are flooding the market because this is the biggest white collar job recession we've ever had. And they're going at these interviews overselling themselves. I am not saying you need to dumb down your resume. I am saying when you get into the interview, you need to change your approach. Emotional intelligence is more important than experience. Emotional intelligence is reading the room and understanding what the people half your age are thinking. And depending on how you communicate, you're coming across like an overbearing mom or dad telling them that you can do everything. They don't want to work with that. And that is the hard reality. And so we can't get frustrated and play the victim and say that, it's not fair. It's really hard in my 50s. Everyone's struggling right now. There are equally as many people that are younger that just have so much college debt that can't even land an entry-level job, right? And so I'm not saying this to be hard on everyone. I'm saying that branding is the problem. You have got to understand how to market yourself. You've got to understand how to reach out properly, how to connect properly, how to present yourself properly. You need to change the strategy. What worked for you in your 20s and 30s and 40s will not work for you in your 50s. And that means you need to go back to job search school. And the reason I know this is because every single day, and they'll back me up if they're on here today, my Work It Daily members who come in their 50s come in with this fear, and then they start taking the class and they go, oh my gosh, I see it. I totally see it, JT. I get what I was doing wrong. You've got to change your strategy. You are a different experience level, which requires a different way of marketing yourself. Let me just explain. BMW markets themselves completely differently than Honda, right? They're different values. So they have to market themselves differently. You have to know your audience and market yourself accordingly. You will hear me talk all the time here about the fact that you need strategy, tools, and tactics for any job search, any career plan. Strategy, tools, and tactics. But no two people on here will use the exact same strategy, tools, and tactics because each of you is unique. And age, which translates into experience, is one of those things that requires a different strategy, tools, and tactics. I really, really mean it. And so for all of my folks out there that are feeling it, especially my folks in their 50s, please don't sleep on the idea that maybe you need to go back to job school and learn how to market yourself and brand yourself, because you are now in the top of the pyramid. Think of the whole life cycle of jobs as a pyramid. We start out on the bottom. There are a lot of entry-level, lower-paying jobs, right? Over time, we build our experience. We move into higher-paying jobs, right? Better jobs. There are fewer of them. Well, once you get up here, you're in the pinnacle. Look at how many fewer jobs there are, right? And there's all of you competing for them. You need a different strategy. This is like going from the minor leagues to the major leagues, right? Your skill level of job search has to go up. And I know that's frustrating because people will say to me all the time, but JT, I work so hard, it's supposed to get easier. Whoever told you that lied to you. It does not get easier in your career. It does not. You have to stay relevant. You have to stay in the game. Otherwise, if you don't, you're out. So that's the hardest thing. And people go, I'm tired, JT. I've been doing this for too long. Well, then we need to teach you what to do. And we need to do some job search school so that you can what? Earn more, stress less, and be happier, because somewhere along the line, you got off path. We got to get you back on path. Okay? And I will just stress this again. You all can do this regardless of your age. Stop. Does it exist? Yes. Not every company has age discrimination, though. You can't make that statement, which means there is a lot more that you can do to change your strategy, tools, and tactics to get hired than you can to control the market. And I know that's hard to hear. And I know you're like, JT, come on. But I'm here to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. That's the big difference with me. I'm going to give it to you straight, and then I'm going to show you how to fix it. And I can back it up with 2 decades working with thousands of people every year. All right? I'm not just spitballing this. I'm here because I love you and I support you and I know you can do it. So yeah, I'm going to give you some tough love because I know you can do it. Plain and simple. All right? Plain and simple. Awesome. You got this. All right, let's grab a question. Oh yeah, let's shout out on TikTok. Can you talk about Temp-to-hire and what to do to eventually land a full-time offer? Yes. All right, so let's back up and talk about one of the hottest trends of 2025, which will be contract hiring. So let me explain what I mean by that. So anytime you see a massive round of layoffs like we've seen over the course of 2024 in all the bigger companies, everybody's restructuring. They don't immediately go back to hiring full-time. Instead, they give their staff more budget to hire contract workers or temporary workers into a temp to perm situation. That's what we call it, TTP, temp to perm. What that means is we hire you as a contractor, and if over time we're seeing that this is really working out, we will get budget to bring you on as a full-time person. This is an amazing time to get a contract role at a company that you're really into, that you would eventually love to work for full-time. Shout out to one of my clients this week. Top of her bucket list was to work for ServiceNow. She just landed an amazing contract opportunity at ServiceNow. Now she's in the organization and over time can work her way into a full-time opportunity. So again, this is all going to start to happen now through 2025. Don't be afraid of contract work. You can get higher hourly rates. You can get into the bigger, the better companies, and eventually you could get a full-time job. Now, how to negotiate that is to, first of all, out of the gate, you want to home run it. So your job is to exceed expectations. Because if they see you as a high performer, that's going to be immediately noted. And then what happens is, A, they don't want to lose you, right? So they want to make you a full-time offer. And B, they want to get you off of the contract because they're paying not just your hourly rate, but they're paying a big markup fee on top of that. So they're going to suddenly go, wait, this person's a keeper and we could save money if we bring them on full-time. So the simple thing you need to do is exceed expectations. Whatever they're looking for, you want to beat it. That is how you go from temp to perm. Okay. And again, we're going to see a big uptick in the number of companies offering these types of roles now through 2025. Amazing chance to get into some of the biggest and best companies in the world. Yes. Wonderful. Okay. Good to see you all here. First of all, shout out to everybody. This is my first time ever doing this. I am on TikTok. I am on LinkedIn. I am on YouTube all at the same time. This is wild to me. I am thrilled to have you all here. And I am taking your questions in real time. All right. So pop them in here and I will do the best that I can for all of you. Right. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I want to give a shout out to Amy. Amy Krause is an amazing recruiter. She and I go back and forth all the time. She's a huge advocate for all of you. Amy, thank you for your shout out. Amy gets it, right? As a recruiter, she gets it. She knows right now in a tough labor market, folks, you've got to do more. If you want to get hired, you've got to do more. It's just not open for discussion. But the upside is most people won't do more. I hate to say it, but a lot of job seekers are lazy. A lot of job seekers only want to do the bare minimum and they don't get the results they're looking for. And then they blame the market and they play the victim mentality. That's none of you though. And I'll tell you why, because you're literally listening to this. If you are listening to this, I already know you're different. There is a saying, when you invest in yourself, you believe in yourself. If that makes sense to you, give it a heart, give it a like, raise your hand, say yes in the comments. If you invest in yourself, you believe in yourself, right? You won't spend money on something if you don't think you can carry it through. Right now, you're not investing money, you're investing time. You're investing time that could be spent scrolling, shopping, doing whatever. You're investing time listening to this. That tells me that you believe in yourself. You believe in yourself as a professional, and you know if you get the right information, you can do something with it. And I'm here for it. I am here for it. So thank you for that. Is it worth messaging recruiters on LinkedIn and other platforms? I hate being ghosted all the time. Okay, let's talk about should you or should you not message recruiters and HR people right now in this labor market? And my answer is no. And normally in a different market, I would say yes. But I'm going to tell you right now, messaging the recruiter or human resources is a no in this job market, this very competitive white collar job market. Let me tell you why. Because everybody's doing it. It's as bad as applying online and expecting that you're going to get contacted. Okay. Right now, you have a 97 to 99% failure rate when you apply online. Let me be clear on that. Only 1 to 3% of the people that apply online right now actually get contacted. That translates into what? A 97 to 99% failure rate every time you apply for a job online. Just giving you the facts. When you message recruiting and HR, that's what everyone's doing because that's what everyone thinks they should do. Okay, well, I can't get through the application, so let me go straight to the recruiter or human resources. They're getting inundated. I just came back from a conference, Talent Connect, LinkedIn's largest conference. And the people that were complaining about how much their recruiters and HR people are getting slammed with connection requests and they just can't handle them. So what do? You connect with the people in the department you want to work in and you ask them for informational interviews. You're not asking them to get you a job. You're asking them for insights. How did they get their job? What do they like about working there, right? What's their number one tip for trying to stand out in the hiring process? These people aren't being hit up as much, okay? And oftentimes can offer you something that can be of value in the process. And sometimes if they like you, they can just forward you to the hiring manager directly. That is a different strategy. Please be selective. Please, please, please be selective. You shouldn't just be blasting everyone. You should have what we call the bucket list. The bucket list at Work It Daily is a list of companies that meet some very specific criteria that you then target the people that work there so that you are not inundating everyone. right? And when you do that, you will get much better results. It is a form of back channeling that is getting really good results right now. Ah, excellent. Very, very good. Thank you. So again, shout out to everyone that's out there on TikTok, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. I'm so excited to have you here today. This is my first time going live on all of the platforms, answering your questions. This is JT Talks Jobs. This is the show where I answer any and all questions you can. My mission in life is to help you earn more, stress less, and love the work that you do. And I'm telling you, as a 2-decade career coach, you can achieve that when you have the right strategy, tools, and tactics in place. Everyone needs strategy, tools, and tactics. That's it. But not all of us are going to use the same combination. Depending on where we are, our experience level, what we're trying to make happen in our career, all of those different factors make us unique. And that means we have to customize the approach. And that's why many, many people struggle in job search and building their careers, because they've never been given a customized approach to getting the results that they're looking for. Okay. Excellent. Very, very good. Let's see. What else do we think? I'm over 40, back at square one after raising kids. What can I do? Well, first of all, anybody on here that's raising kids knows that's one of the hardest jobs in the world. I have 2 of them. I can vouch, and it's the job that I'm most proud of, right? I'm absolutely love being a parent. I feel really grateful that I was given that opportunity. That being said, when you've taken time out of the workforce and you're trying to come back in, you are starting at square one. But it doesn't mean that you have to start at the bottom and spend many, many years working your way back up. You've gained an incredible amount of transferable skills. You've done a lot of things over the course of time where you were raising children. What we have to do is synthesize that down and build a proactive strategy for you to connect with employers that will appreciate what you have to offer. Unfortunately, anytime we've had a gap in employment, anytime we're trying to pivot, our resume won't work for us, because your resume is a historical reference of what you've done, and that's not going to do anything for you. You need a different brand strategy. When I work specifically with parents returning to the workforce, we look at the brand value, what they can offer to employers, and we lead with storytelling, not your resume. And the stories are around how you connect with the work that they do and their mission. Because one thing they can't teach you is to have this deep rooted, it's called intrinsic, it's a fancy term, motivation to do the job. We can't teach you that. So when we interview, in case you're all wondering why we don't just hire people with experience, because experience isn't enough. Okay. We need to see that you've got the intrinsic motivation to do this job, because we know we can't teach it to you. And then we need to make sure you have the personality, the communication style that will work with the rest of the team. So that's why we actually interview you. Right? Because anybody that gets an interview has roughly the same experience. Where you start to stand out is in your intrinsic motivation and your communication style, your personality. And that's why interviewing becomes so powerful. But that's where returning to the workforce parents can have a competitive advantage when they tie it to organizations that they feel really inspired by. So we would have you build a bucket list. We would have you pull those stories out, and then we would show you how to back channel leading with the story, not the resume. And this is how you get yourself a shot at a new job and into a great organization. Again, I'm just going to stop here really quick, folks. If this is all making sense to you and you're like, maybe I should use a customized strategy, tools, and tactics combination, that is why Work It Daily exists. We are the only platform that does this. The only one. By the way, you won't find a single platform out there that also lets you try it free for 7 days. That's how sure we are that you're going to find some value in it. And you can use it for 7 days and cancel. That's okay. But I think if you've never been to job search school, if you don't understand job shopping, back channeling, connection story, unique value add, the things that I talk about here on a daily basis, if this isn't making sense to you, you need to go back to school, because these are the things that are getting people what they want in their careers. And I just got to ask you, like, how much do you want it? Because as we say, if you invest in yourself, you believe in yourself. So I'm asking you to invest time. I'm asking you to invest 7 days of your time, 15 minutes a day. That's it. 15 minutes a day watching videos. That's what Work It Daily is. You go in, there's a course right there. You watch a video. Okay, here's what I learned. You watch a video. You come to my 6 live sessions a week. You watch a video, right? We've made it really easy for you to learn what you need to learn in order to get the results you're looking for, right? So ask yourself, do I believe in myself? If I do, am I willing to invest in myself in time? Then you're ready for Work It Daily. You're ready for a 7-day free trial of Work It Daily. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, what other job platforms are good for looking for jobs? I get that question probably once a day. Here's the thing, folks. There are no good job platforms out there. Job boards are not a good place to look for work right now. And that's because it's where everybody's going. A lot of the jobs are fake or bogus, and there are an incredible amount of scams out there. If you see a job on a job board that you think is interesting, you should be going to the company's actual careers page. You should be validating that the job is real. I can't tell you the surge of scams that I've seen. I mean, I posted one just this week. This is the most heartbreaking story. There was a man 10 months unemployed. He got an invite to do an AI interview, which he's in data science. So he was like, that's not uncommon to him. He did a series of AI interviews online. He was given an 8-page offer letter, reference checks. Everything was being done virtually. And he was like, this is fine. This is fine. He was given the job offer. He was filling out all the information, social security number, bank account for direct deposit, doing this all. And something in his said, and he said it himself, his spidey senses went off. And he was like, something feels weird about this because at some point I should talk to a human. I'm fine with it being automated, but at some point I should be talking to a human. So he emailed or called the company and asked for the HR person. They gave the HR person's email. He emailed the HR person. Within minutes, the HR person came back and said, no, this is a total scam. This is not us. We are not offering you a job. This is a scam. Don't give them your information. Folks, this is happening every single day. You have to be extremely careful. You have to make sure that the company is legit, because if it's too good to be true, it is. You should be talking to human beings at some point in this process. You should not be giving your information away too soon. You should be checking to make sure that everybody you talk to has a LinkedIn profile, is a legitimate person. And even then, some of these things go sour. But please, I'm not a fan of the job boards right now. What I am a fan of is you knowing what companies you want to work for, you following them on social media, you connecting with people in the departments that they work for, you going to their company's careers page and seeing if they have live jobs and applying directly there. We have to use the channels that are the safest. And that's a big part of what we're going to teach you at Work It Daily, so that you don't end up in this situation, because it's just heartbreaking when it happens. Awesome. 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 Let's see. What else can I? Should I be applying or staying put? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Should you leave a job right now in this bad job economy? I love, love, love this question, because the answer is it totally depends. It really depends person to person. Folks, it's always easier to get a job, even in a bad job market, when you have a job. So I'm just going to call that one out. All right. So if you're in a job right now that you absolutely hate, please don't stay in it just because you think it's a bad job market, because you're going to hate it more and more and more. You're going to feel trapped. You're going to feel like a victim. And I've seen a lot of people then end up laid off or fired because they didn't realize it, but the company could tell they were checking out. And have people have said, no, they never know, JT. They know. They know. And by the way, if you're unhappy, then we look for you to move. That's it. I don't care what the market's like. If you're unhappy, we're going to look for you to move. If you need to earn more, stress less, be happier, then we look for you to move. But what we do is we get really intentional. You go job shopping. Job shopping is the process of you defining the kinds of organizations and the kinds of opportunities that would most light you up, and then a very intentional strategy for connecting with people there to learn about those opportunities. Because one of the trends that is also going to be big this year is the hidden job market. And the hidden job market is there are jobs, but they're not posting them publicly. And the reason they're not posting them publicly is because they cannot physically handle getting 1,000 applicants for one job. They cannot handle it. So they don't publicly post it. Instead, they say to their staff in the department where they're looking to hire, if you know somebody that's a good fit, if somebody approaches you through LinkedIn and you think they're a fit, forward them to me. And that's how people are getting hired right now. So if you hate your job and it's a bad job market, we build a strategy, we use the right tools, we use the right tactics, and we get you hired. Yeah. And we just make sure it's a legit company with a great opportunity, because there are still companies hiring in this market. They're just not being very public about it. I want to give you a little story. I was sitting at breakfast at LinkedIn's Talent Connect and met a woman who was the head of recruiting, and she was recruiting for a job in her recruiting team. All right. So she put that job up, and in 48 hours had 600 applicants. 48 hours, 600 applicants. She took it down, hid the job posting. And then she said, I felt so obligated as a recruiter to make sure that I reached out to every single person and that each resume got looked at. She said, I had to spend the next week every night till midnight looking at resumes because I had to do my day job. And then I had to look at all these resumes. And she said, I was so blurry eyed at the end. Like everybody looked the same. It was just awful, but I did it in order to feel like I saw everyone and I could send everyone a message. And she said, I'll never do it again. And I'm in recruiting. This is what's happening in this market. This is why applying online isn't working for you. This is why you have to have a list of companies you want to work for. You have to go job shopping. You got to stop job seeking and you have to start job shopping. And when you do that, you're going to get much better results. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes? Yeah. I know. And it's so funny. Everyone's talking about getting ghosted right now. And the funny thing is recruiters don't think they're ghosting you. They think, look, I'm looking for a candidate and I'll contact the candidates that are moving forward in the process. And that's the way it goes because they're too busy. They don't have enough hours in the day to handle it. They just physically can't. And at that point, folks, if you've ever been under that much pressure, you just don't care when you're that much pressure. And I know you're all saying, but that's so mean to me. You're one person. They've got 1,000 applicants. What are they going to do? And they're under pressure to find the right 10 to give to the hiring manager. And there's clearly 200 that would be a fit. So now they've got to pick out of 210 and it's just too much, it's too much pressure. So they don't care. And you feel like it's ghosting and they're like, I'm just trying to survive. You got to understand what's happening on both sides of the marketplace right now. And you got to have empathy for both sides because the whole system is dysfunctional and broken. I'm the first one to tell you that. Hiring as we know it is so dysfunctional and broken. And it's what creates all this friction and problems for both sides. But you do really need to understand what's happening on the other side. I'll give you another thing that you shouldn't be doing. Please don't be following up every 3 days, checking in on an opportunity. I actually posted for a role recently, and I was very specific about how I wanted people to reach out if they were interested. And then I've had some people that have excessively followed up, and they've just lost their chance because you have to have enough emotional intelligence to know that following up once is plenty. We know where to find you. There's a lot going on the recruiting side. There's so much going on that when you excessively follow up, you're doing this. So please be careful. I'm not saying don't follow up. I'm saying give it a week, one full week, check in, and then you got to leave it alone. You've got to let them do their thing because they're really, really overwhelmed right now. Yeah. Let's see. How do we deal with the salary question? So first of all, folks, anytime they ask you what you're looking to make in an interview, inside you should be doing like a little happy dance because that's called a buy signal. If they're asking you what you're looking to make, they're like, this person meets our criteria so far. Can we afford them? Just like when you go shopping, you're like, ooh, I really like this thing, but can I afford it? They're doing the same thing. So you need to be ready for that question because you want them to ask you that question. Don't avoid it. Now, I've seen other people out there that are giving horrible advice when it comes to salary negotiation. If somebody says to you, tell them, well, let's see if we're a fit first and then we can talk salary, and you're gone. Somebody asks you how much something costs and the answer back they give you is, I don't feel like giving you that answer right now. That feels so disingenuous. You're out. So please don't take that advice. It is absolutely wrong. You need to be ready with a range. You do not go on a job interview without being ready to confidently and calmly provide a range. And the range is your walkaway rate, the least amount of money you can accept without having to look for another job, and your ideal. And that's a big swing. I work with executives where that swing is like $200,000. I'm not kidding, right? Like I help negotiate deals and people will be like, I'm looking to make 500 to 750,000. And you'll be like, well, why is that so big? Say, well, 500,000 is the minimum that I can make. I'm ultimately looking for a lot of upside for an opportunity to really earn more. So 750 would be my ideal. But the package, the whole deal, I'm looking at the entire opportunity, right? That's how they approach it. You could say that if you were I'm looking to make 40,000 to 60,000 a year. 40,000 is my walkaway rate. It is the least amount of money I could accept without having to look for another job. 60,000 is my ideal, But ultimately, I'm looking for a package that checks all the boxes. I want a place where I can learn, where I can grow, where the environment's awesome, where the company's awesome. So money isn't the only factor for me, but that is my range. You have to have a range, folks. And if they come back to you and say, oh my gosh, look, we can't even make your minimum, then you need to say, I understand. I love your company. I have to do what's best for me. Let me remove myself from this hiring cycle. And if you can ever afford like that minimum, at least, please come back to me because I'm really excited about your company. Now, why do you do that? Because it shows that you have self-respect and you understand your brand's value and that you don't want to waste your time and you don't want to waste their time. And when you do that, your professional reputation goes way up. But also, it shows that you're standing by your value and your worth. So when you walk away and they're like, oh, that person was so good though, maybe we can go find the money. Maybe we can find a way. Now, when they come back to you and say, we found the money, now you're back on those terms together. Okay. So that's why you need to have this transparency in this market, folks. You have to have that transparency because there are so many people out there willing to work right now. You can't just go at them and say, well, you've got to find more money. You instead have to have your range. If you don't fit in the range, you have to respect that, right? And that's the thing. Each of you needs to go out and be really honest with yourself. What's your walkaway right now? Now, the problem that all of you are going to come at me with right now is, well, JT, when I give a range like that, they hear the low end of the range, they're going to lowball me. Folks, not every organization is looking to lowball you right now. They're looking to make you happy. They want you to stay. You just made it clear to them that's your walkaway rate. So what they understand is if something better came along, you'd probably still go for another job. So how do I avoid that? If you told me you're 40 to 60,000 and I have a way to pay you 55, I'm going to pay you 55. That way I know you're not going to leave. I'm paying you on the higher range of your range. This is what people don't understand about negotiation. So please have a range, be very clear and confident in your range, right? And understand that's a wonderful thing when they ask you what your salary requirement is. You should be ready to answer that with a big smile on your face. Okay. And by the way, I'll say it again, as I always do. If you want help with salary negotiations, this is what we do all the time inside Work It Daily. I have a salary negotiation course, videos, step-by-step, everything I just taught you now, so you can map this out. And we have a whole platform inside where you can work with the coaches to make sure you're doing all the right things, right? Awesome. Let's see. I love it. Looking at all the questions. Oh, thank you so much. First of all, thank you for all the likes and loves out there on the social. I'm so glad y'all are finding this helpful. This is my first time going live on all three platforms. How are we doing so far? Good? Everyone doing okay with this? I love it. This is great. What questions would you ask an assistant vice president in a final interview? Okay, let's reframe that. What questions should you be asking in a final interview when you're meeting with the head honcho? Because folks, usually, not every hiring cycle, but most hiring cycles involve the last step in the process is meeting the one person that can say no when everyone else is saying yes about you. So think about that. You go through the recruiter first and they're like, oh, they meet the criteria. Let me send them to the hiring manager. Hiring manager likes you. Maybe the hiring manager has you interview with someone else, a peer or the people you'd be working with to make sure they like you. Everyone's liking you. And then all of a sudden you've got to meet with the VP or you've got to meet with the president or the CEO, somebody really high up. That's because they don't want to get in trouble for a bad hire. So the way they look at it is if I have you interview with this person and this person says that you're good, well, then no one could ever blame me if you don't work out. That's the truth. Okay. So when you're going into that high level interview, they're trying to figure out one thing and one thing only. Will you save them or make them enough money to justify the cost of hiring you? Will you solve problems and alleviate pain that makes you valuable? That is what they're trying to understand in that interview. Are you valuable enough to invest in? And let me remind you all that it doesn't just cost your salary to hire you. It's about 130 to 140%. So round numbers, right? If you want to make $10 an hour, it actually costs them $13 to $14 an hour to hire you. So that person, that last person you're meeting with is trying to figure out, are you worth it? So what do you need to do? You need to talk to them about pain. You need to talk to them about problems. You need to talk about saving money. You need to talk about making money. That is the value that you create. And if you know your job well enough, you're going to know how to explain that to them. Now, the questions you ask should relate to that as well. Things like, tell me why you believe this job is very important to the success of the company. Tell me how you believe this job can help save or make enough money to make it worthwhile. Tell me what you're looking for in a candidate to make sure that they get you the return on the investment, it's called ROI, that you're looking for in this candidate. Tell me what keeps you up at night with respect to achieving the goals of the company next year, and how would the job I be doing be able to help you with that? I mean, we have a whole list of these questions inside Work It Daily, what to ask, but those are just a few. Do you see how all of those questions are around solving problems, alleviate pain, saving money, making money? Because that's what they're trying to figure out about you. And when you do that, you are sending the message that I understand what you need from me. I understand that I have to pay for myself. And I do that by creating value. Does that make sense to everyone? I'm telling you, that's how you stand out. And a lot of people go into the last interview and they think, I just need to be nice. I just need to be the nice candidate. Then you're the nice to have candidate. You need to be the must have candidate. You need to be the candidate that's going to pay for themselves. That's when you lean into this type of questioning. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Great, great. Awesome. Are you wonderful, wonderful? Look at all these questions. Let me see, what else do I have here? Yes. Very good. I see that somebody used that question. I love it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. How do you ask for more money with a job offer? Posting is 45 to 50,000. They want to offer me 45. Okay, great. Okay, it's wonderful. Let's go through this together. Let's do a live salary negotiation breakdown. If you are my client and you're telling me they posted the job at $45 to $50,000 a year, you've gone through the entire interview process and they've come back with an offer of 45, low end of the range, and you believe that you deserve high end of the range. In order to get that, you're going to have to prove it. So how do you prove it, folks? You do it with something called a job matching matrix. This is a tool that I built inside Work It Daily that we have all of our clients build out when they're doing salary negotiation. So here's what you do. In the first column of the job matching matrix is every requirement they listed on the job. Anything they asked for in the job is listed in column 1, okay? And then you're going to add anything else that while you were in the interview process with them, they brought up. So other skills, other things that they needed that weren't even listed, I want it all in column 1. Everything on the job description, everything in the interview, okay? In the second column, you are going to summarize why each one of these is important. Remember, I was just talking about you need to save the money, make the money, solve problems, alleviate pain. So you should be able to talk about how each one of these things is important, because if you don't get it, it's going to cause a problem. It's going to cost money, right? So here's why this saves money. Here's why this skill set helps you make money. Here's why this skill set solves this problem. Here's why this, right, alleviates this pain. You're going to explain the value, because that's what we're doing in that second column, of each of these things they're asking for, all right? Then in the third column, you are going to summarize how you meet or exceed that requirement. And after you've filled in them all, because you're not getting this job unless you meet all of them, okay, so you're proving it, you're going to highlight the ones in green where you exceed the requirement. So if they said they need 5 years of project management experience, and it's because if you don't, you're not going to be able to get this stuff done on time and under budget, and you have 10 years of experience, right? You're going to highlight that 10 years in green. You now have a document, literal proof. Oh, hold on. You have a document. You have proof that you meet all the requirements of the job and that you also exceed some of the requirements of the job. And now you can go back to them and say, with this document all typed up, can we have a quick chat? I'd love to run something by you, right? We never salary negotiate through email because it's way easier to reject you. You get them on the phone so they can hear your voice, and you say, I'm so excited to work for you. I'm really honored for the opportunity. That's why this is a hard conversation to have. But the truth is, I was really hoping to get 50,000. I know it's in the range. And so I put together a job matching matrix, and I just wanted to walk through how I not only meet all the requirements that were on the initial job posting, but we also talked about all these other things that you need, which I meet. Here's why I know they're important. And as you can see, I not only meet them all, I exceed a whole bunch of them. For those reasons, I really believe I am bringing exceptional value, and I would be so grateful if you would see it to pay me the 50,000. I know that I'm going to be a great candidate for you, and it would just mean the world to me if you could meet me at that number. That's it. You didn't say you're not going to take the job if they can't offer it. You were just giving the evidence to ask for the 50. Now, what's going to happen? Most of the times they can't answer you on the spot. They're going to have to go back and talk to somebody. But now guess what? You gave them a physical document that they can give to the person who does make that decision. Okay. And you put in the work. So they go back and they come back to you and they either say, I'm sorry that we just really feel strongly you're 45. That's it. Okay. Or yes, we're going to give you that 45, or hey, we're going to give you that 50, or we'll give you the 50 after a 90-day trial. Like, we just want to make sure you really work out. You're going to get some options. The worst option is the no. If you get a full no, then say, how long would it be before I could make that? I say, I'll accept the job, but can we talk through what it's going to take for me to get to the 50 before a year anniversary? I would like to make that sooner than later. This is just a discussion. Stay calm. We want to understand where they're coming from financially, but they need to understand where you're coming from financially. But I'll be honest with you, the success rate we're having with the job matching matrix right now is insane. I mean, my clients are going in and getting their numbers. I had a guy, they came in at 100,000. He wanted 140,000. He did the job matching matrix. He had 140,000 in an hour, because you're giving them the data points to validate it. And at that point, they don't want to lose you. Okay, so you've got to do the work, folks. If you want more money than what they're offering, you've got to prove it to them with their own criteria. And that is the secret to the job matching matrix. And if you would like help with the job matching matrix, if you would like the video tutorial on the job matching matrix, examples of them, and the template for them, they are all over inside Work It Daily. And I do not make that public. It is inside Work It Daily because I want to make sure that you understand how to use it properly. So that's why. A lot of the stuff that I teach in Work It Daily is in there because I want you to be doing all the right steps and have everything that you need. And our platform is built for that. All the little videos, the support materials, everything is there. And I know that you're getting the right information. Okay. So if you want that, it's over at Work It Daily. Go grab a 7-day free trial and you can download it. All right. This is great. This is great. Renee is asking on, let's see, on YouTube. Shout out to Renee on YouTube. Okay. How do you come up with a job title on my resume when I've been paid to do everything virtual for an elderly relative? Project management, virtual assistant, tech support, budgeting, setup, bill pay, help. Okay. Folks, if you don't have an official job title, that can be a really great thing. What you have to do, though, is decide what lane do I want to go in. So if you know what type of job you want to do next, if it's project management, put project management, right? If it's sales, put sales. If you have that flexibility, that's fantastic. If you've done everything, I would say it's operations management. You can pick and choose. I would be more focused on what are the jobs that I am interested in and what's the common theme of the job titles there, and then matching my job titles to that. I say that though, but please make sure that whoever you worked for is going to also agree that that's your job title. Because what you don't want to do, folks, is make up job titles, and then when they go do a reference check, they give a totally different job title, then you look like you're lying. So make sure you're being accurate with your job titles in that respect. Good. Very, very good. All right. What other questions? All right. I love this. Back channeling is working, but I'm so horrible in interviews. I'm not moving to the next round. Let's get into that. Okay, folks, I will say of all the things I coach on, interviewing to me is the most important, because you getting the job is going to come down to how you communicate. And I'm just going to be honest, you have to spend time improving your interview skills. That is basic communication. If you don't understand what to say and how to say it and what they're looking for, what the hiring manager is looking for, HR is looking for, recruiting, if you don't understand that, you're not going to get the job. It's communication 101. And so not spending some time understanding how interviewing works and what they're looking for, especially when it comes to behavioral questions. Those are those open-ended questions. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about a time when you did this. Explain your greatest weakness. All these random questions. If you don't have a structure for answering those, you will miss out. So I'm not saying to memorize them. I would never have any of my clients do that. Instead, we've built a course. Remember, I was in the recruiting and staffing industry. So the entire course is built on the idea of it helping you understand, here's what's happening before the interview and why they're doing it. Here's what's happening during the interview. Here's why they're asking you these questions. Here are the answers they're looking for. Here's what you do after the interview. The entire process. We cover everything inside this massive, massive organized course that's all video-based. So you can just watch the videos to know. If you're not getting past the second round of interviews, you need to be focusing on interview answers, specifically behavioral questions, because with behavioral questions, folks, we're not just assessing your experience level. Obviously, you're there because you have the experience. We're assessing your personality, meaning communication-wise, can you get along with everyone, but also your aptitude. Do you understand what you need to be doing? Could you do it our way? And so we need to listen to you explain how you would approach things and how you've approached things in the past to get a sense of whether or not you would fit, right? If you don't know how to explain things in that way, you can sound like you didn't give enough information. You can sound like you're not qualified. Or even worse, what most people do is they over explain and then you sound narcissistic, desperate, or confused. You have to get it just down the middle, just right. And I would say this is the most challenging part. I do think, but it doesn't have to be that challenging. I tell this story all the time. My entire interview course was built for a young man, senior in college, double major, brilliant, top of his class, could not land a job because he was so scared going into interviews. He was sweating through all his clothes. And so what we did is said, if we can teach you what's happening and why it's happening, you can relax. Because what's really stressing you out in these interviews is you don't know what's coming. And so then you're punting, you're like guessing. That's silly. Let's make you understand every aspect of it. Let's plan out what you should say, the framework of what you should say. Let's get you comfortable. Let's mock interview. And sure enough, he had competing job offers. So you are someone who's got to really think about that. Now, I do have, if you just want a quick hit, folks, the 18 most common questions you'll be asked in a job interview that are those open-ended questions, I have linked in my bio. So you'll find them linked in my bio and you can download it. It's just a quick document and you could at least start to answer them. If you want to hear me explain how to answer every single one, I have a video for every single one inside Work It Daily. I have a framework for you to answer every question. And some questions are trick questions, like, what do you think makes a good manager? Serious trick question. Did you know that? What do you think makes a good manager? The moment you start answering, we know you're talking about your past manager. We know, right? And I'll tell you the mistake people make. They start talking about, well, I don't want a boss who micromanages, who does it, right? And you just start going off. And now we know exactly what happened in your last job. And the reality is we don't assume that you're right or they're right. We figure they're somewhere in the middle. So how you choose to answer that question, I don't need you to lie. I need you to frame your answer better. I need you to articulate that same information you want to get across in a way that doesn't come across angry, desperate, that sort of thing. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of job seekers do because they have not been trained in how to do this correctly. Yeah. What is your current advice on follow-up messages? Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, so you go on an interview. It's been a week. How do you follow up? Folks, it is really important that when you follow up, you keep it very short and simple. Please don't try to sell yourself. Please don't try to recap your experience. Please don't try to tell them something you thought you didn't get to tell them in the interview. Nobody's going to read it, and it feels really pushy. The easiest thing to do is message them and say this. I wanted to be proactive, see if there was anything else I could offer to further my candidacy. That's all you're saying. And by the way, never say I'm just checking in. Never, ever, ever say I'm just checking in. Studies show that when you say I'm just checking in, that sounds passive aggressive. It sounds like you're saying you didn't do your job and follow up with me, so I'm having to do your job. I'm serious. Don't do it. Instead, say, dear so-and-so, I wanted to be proactive, see if there's anything else I can offer to further my candidacy. I would love the chance to work with you. Okay? Simple. But then here's my secret. This one you need to steal. Here's my little secret ad that can really help you. It's called the PS. So you put a PS and say, I saw this video or I saw this article. You go find something online that talks about something you talked about in the interview. Okay? Imagine they're like already your colleague and you came across something that you would give to your colleagues. You know what I mean? When we see something, we're like, oh, everyone should see this. We do that in our group chat all the time at Work It Daily. So you say, PS, I saw this article or I saw this video and it really made me think about what we chatted about. I thought you'd find it helpful too. So what you're doing is actually giving them something of value. Okay? You're keeping it short and you're giving them some value. The PS is awesome because one, it helps them remember you, but it also, there's a purpose to your email instead of just checking in, right? There's an actual purpose to your email. So you could even flip it around and lead with that and say, hey, so-and-so, really enjoyed chatting with you last week. This just came across my, LinkedIn feed, and I thought you'd find it really interesting based on what we chatted about. Here it is. P.S. If there's anything else I can do to further my candidacy, let me know. You can flip it around. But having the short note with the P.S., like chef's kiss when it comes to following up. And you do that once, and then you're done, friends, because they know where to find you. All right? Remember, a week in your world feels like a year. A week in their world is a hot minute. They've got a lot of other things they're doing. So follow up, use that technique, and then just sit back and stay busy. No job crushing, right? Sitting around dreaming about the job. No job crushing. Get out there and look for other jobs. Keep the pipeline going. Keep yourself busy and distracted. That is the best thing you can do in that situation. Yes. Awesome. Is this helping? Thoughts on mailing your resume instead of applying online? Highly unlikely you'll get anything. Companies aren't doing that anymore. Every company has an ATS system that they're going to want stuff documenting. Now, that being said, applying online, highly unlikely you'll get a call. I would say applying so that your stuff's in the system, just understanding the only reason you're applying online is to make sure your stuff's in the system, you should do, but then you start the proper back channeling technique for your situation. All of you are a little different. Strategies, tools, tactics. I talk about that. You would start the back channeling process that is appropriate for your career, your industry, your skill set level. And then once you do that, you're trying to get in so that somebody goes and pulls that application that you filled out of the pile. Yeah. Do you help with the transitioning military veterans? First of all, yeah, we love working with veterans over at Work It Daily. Yes, 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 yes. And the reason we love working with them is we take your very military driven resume and experience and we translate it so that you can now present it to the civilian world. Secondly, we just love working with you because thank you for your service. Really, really appreciate that. So my military folks out there, we love, love, love working with you. I would encourage you to come to the lives for the week, check out the materials, but we absolutely love working with you. And I would say you would definitely want one of our platforms where you work with the coaches. Like our premium is our most popular membership and you get unlimited email coaching. And why is that important, folks? Because you don't need to get on a call with a coach and that's going to be expensive. And the problem with most coaching is you get an hour with a coach and then you never hear from them again and nothing happens. What you need is access whenever you need it to a coach. You need to be able to shoot them an email and know that they're going to give you the right answer back. That is why our platform works so well. That is how we're able to hyperspeed our clients. So if you're a military, you would come in with our premium membership, go through our resume tutorial, send it in, recruiters look at it, tell you what to fix, right? We go back and forth until we've got it on lock. And that's what we do. We love helping transitioning military. Yeah. By the way, companies love to hire you because of your discipline. You know, the military taught you incredible discipline. We just need to translate the document so it makes sense for them. Yes. Oh my goodness, I love this question from Greg. Shout out to Greg on LinkedIn who just asked, JT, if I get rejected online, can I back channel for the job? Yes. I can't tell you how many of our clients apply because we say, look, apply so you're in the system, but know you're going to get rejected. So we set their expectations. You're getting rejected 97 to 99% of the time through no fault of your own. There's just too many people stuffing that inbox, but at least you're in the system. Okay. Now I want you to back channel. And I can't tell you how many people in our membership will come in and go, JT, I got the auto rejection that I didn't get the job. I back channeled and the hiring manager just scheduled me for an interview. Especially when you use our disruptive cover letter technique. It's a communication strategy. It's not a traditional cover letter at all. That's why we call it disruptive, where you send the hiring manager essentially like, this is why I think your company's amazing. This is the story about why I get you. I mean, hiring managers eat that up. And you sent it to the hiring manager directly, they're like, oh my gosh, look at this person's hustle. Like, look at how much they identify with who we are and what we do. Hey, recruiter, go get this person an interview. Happens all the time. Folks, apply online if you want to get yourself in the system. But the really way that you're going to get the interview is the back channel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome questions. Wow, you guys are so great today. Let's see. I'm just going to take a few more here. Second round interview coming up on Monday with the CEO. Any last minute tips? If you can go back and watch this recording, you can all watch this recording, by the way, over on YouTube and on LinkedIn. If you just go to my YouTube feed or my LinkedIn feed, this live will be recorded. I tell you that because if back earlier in today's session, I walked through what you should be doing when you're talking to the C-suite. Anytime you're in a last round interview, anytime you're talking to the C-suite, you have to focus on the fact that you are saving the money, making the money, alleviating pain, solving problems. So go back and watch that tutorial earlier on in this live. It'll give you everything you need to know. What would be the reason I didn't make it past the initial HR interview? Okay. HR is a technical buyer. Let me say that again. HR is a technical buyer, and you need to understand this today if you want to get past an HR interview. They are the person that can say no, but they can't say yes, meaning you're still going to have to interview with other people to get hired. But they very easily can say, this person isn't moving forward. What they're looking for is your values and whether or not you are going to be a proper fit for the organization. So they're looking very heavily at your communication style, right? And your approach to work. It's not about whether you have the experience. That's not theirs to decide. It is whether or not you're going to fit in culturally in the organization based on how you communicate and how you act and how you think. So HR is going to ask you those behavioral questions, and they're really monitoring that, saying, would this person really integrate well in with the other members, or would they actually be disruptive? And so if they're not feeling it with you, they may decide not to move you forward. Now, remember, they're going to probably meet with 5 or 10 people, and you might not have done anything wrong. It's just that you didn't do enough right for them to pick you and say, hey, these are the 3 I want to move forward. So my advice would be, if you're not moving forward with HR, you should be doing some mock interviewing just to make sure that how you're landing, what you're saying, isn't coming across as too much. Big mistake a lot of people make is TMI. They don't think through their answers, and they give answers that are too honest. And I'm not saying you need to be dishonest, but sometimes you share stuff that you just didn't need to share. We didn't need to know. And by giving us that information, it's not helping your cause. So you have to make sure that your answers are really in alignment. And that's why we teach so much on interview prep and Work It Daily. I do a live every single week exclusively on interview prep. That's how big a deal it is. Yeah. We have the most comprehensive interview prep course you'll ever see. I do a live every week, and you can also purchase mock interview sessions with our coaching team. That it's important, and HR is really paying attention. So if you're somebody that's accidentally giving out TMI, then that's a problem. Yeah. Or you're going the other way. You're like so guarded that they're like you're hiding something. You've got to get it right down the middle with your answers, folks. Right now in interviewing, your answers have to be on point, just the right amount of information, or you're not moving forward. If there was one area I would have everybody work on, it is interview prep. If you are trying to get a job right now and you want to stand out, you want more money, interview prep is what's going to get it for you every single time, because you have to look like the must-have candidate compared to the rest. And that's all going to come down to how you communicate, how you answer those questions. Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, if you've never done interview prep before, you've never been exposed to it, why wouldn't you go try it for 7 days? Like, just go into Work It Daily and go see the interview prep course. You will see what I mean. There's no way you won't take some nuggets away and have some aha moments around, dang, I've been doing that wrong in interviews. Or I never thought to ask that in interviews. There's so much that you can very quickly learn watching the videos. I mean, fast, right? I have people go in there and just watch all the videos right before an interview. Right? So get some interview prep help. Yeah. I was fired for poor performance today after 5 years on the job. They instituted an unlimited PTO last week and refused to pay out my accrued PTO. Wow. Yeah, that is unfortunate. That is a company that is in financial trouble, right? So they changed their PTO rule so that they don't have to pay out any payments to you, and now they let you go. What's interesting is they're firing you for performance. Were you given any performance warnings? Were you put on a performance improvement plan? It's called a PIP, or were you just fired for performance? I think the first thing that you should ask is, are you eligible for rehire? If they say you're eligible for rehire, you weren't fired for performance, you were laid off. That's a totally different thing. So I would definitely find out if you are ever eligible for rehire there again, because if you are eligible, again, that means this is a layoff, not a firing. If you're not eligible, then they're calling this a performance firing. Yeah. So yeah, folks, there's a lot of bad practices out there. There are a lot of companies that are in financial challenges. And when that happens, they look at their employees, which are their greatest expense, and they say, all right, well, they're who I need to cut. And they feel bad about it. But then they suddenly go with, but you've been so lucky to have a job. And, this is a hard decision for us. So now it's your fault. Yeah, it happens. Is it right? No, of course not. It's not right. And it messes with your head, but it does happen very often. I have a lot of those people come into Work It Daily, and they're just very confused by the whole experience. And I have to talk them through it and say, look here. Let's look at what really went down. Doesn't make it any less painful because you lost your job. But what I don't want you doing is carrying any kind of personal burden like it was your fault. So it had nothing to do with you. They're just not handling it well, and it's making you feel badly. So we have to change that, folks. There's something that I like to remind people. Our thoughts are not truths. Not everything you think is the truth. And a lot of times I have people come in and they're thinking the worst, and I have to stop them and go, that's not a truth, and that's not a truth, and that's not a truth. Those are misassumptions, those are feelings, and they are not accurate. So let's get rid of those. Let's speak in facts. Okay? Let's make sure we're verifying what we're thinking and feeling, because so much of what we bring into this is not real. And when I can show people it isn't real and I can explain to them why things happen, I watch them relax. I watch the anxiety go away, the depression go away, the sadness and the fear. And they're like, okay, it isn't just me. We had a member, like it just warmed our heart this week. We had a member join Work It Daily. We have this private community. And he wrote, I just watched my first video and I already felt my anxiety drop. In 15 minutes, I now understand I'm not alone. It's not me, right? And that I can do this. And it's like, that's what we go for inside Work It Daily. It's funny. My team knows we have 3 things that we want every member of Work It Daily to experience. 3 things. This is what we live by at Work It Daily. When you join us, we want you to feel seen. We want you to feel heard. And most importantly, we want you to feel understood. Seen, heard, and understood. That is what you are coming to us for, because we can't get you on the right path and building the right strategy, tools, and tactics and just crushing your goals if you don't feel seen, heard, and understood. The majority of people out there right now that feel completely invisible, completely trapped is like heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. They're depressed, they're stressed, they've been looking for work, they're struggling, and they feel completely invisible, especially if you're not getting any results. You feel invisible. Yes, am I right? That's why you join Work It Daily, because we're going to make sure you feel seen. We make sure you feel heard. Especially we make sure that you're understood so that you then go, I can do this. I can do this with the right people, right? With the right support from JT and her team. I can do this, right? If you're saying right now, I don't think I can do this. It's not working. I don't think I can do this. I feel invisible. What's going on? You need help. Whether it's us or someone else, please go get the help you need, because you deserve it. You shouldn't stay feeling this way. You do not need to feel this way. And I will just say something that I felt like I've been saying a lot this week to people, which is tough times don't last. Tough people do. You're tough. You're stronger than you realize. And this will pass. And as long as you stay strong and keep going and keep learning and keep growing and keep looking for the answers and the support, you will survive this too. You've survived many things before this, and you'll survive many more to come. Okay? This too will pass. This is a tough time that will pass, but don't just sit around and do nothing. Move forward. Seek new advice, seek new answers, get support, get help. Yeah. Yeah. I personalize my CV for each application, or personalize my resume for each application. I write around 5 bullet points for each role, the only most relevant experience, but job ads often contain extremely long descriptions and list requirements. Matching my experience to these takes forever. Any tips to speed this up? Yeah. So again, trying to customize your resume for every job is a waste of your time. There's only one place you should be customizing your resume. It's called the top fold. So folks, here's something about resumes you need to understand. When they open it up, you've got 6 seconds. That's it. 6 seconds. And so that first top fold of the resume is the most crucial real estate, because my eye is going to work in a Z pattern, human eye pattern, left to right, down and back. Okay. And that top part is where I spend the majority of time. If I don't make an immediate impression that you are a fit for this job, I'm probably not going to read the rest of your resume. And I'm definitely not going to look at your bullet points. So people overthink this and try to massively customize each resume. That is the biggest waste of your time ever. Ever. The only part of your resume you should be customizing is the top, and it should take you probably 30 seconds to do, at least with our format. Because with our format, it's been built to have your key skill sets that match the job in a certain framework that make it very easy for them to go, check, 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 check. Oh, look, this person has the basic experience we were told to look at. Let me take a deeper look at their resume. That's really the key. So stop hyper customizing every resume, folks. If you want to see what it looks like, you see our resume template, which, by the way, blind study, 74% of recruiters, we gave them the resume that a lot of people are using in our template. 74% preferred our resume because of its readability. And it's so much easier to customize because you're just tailoring that top in 30 seconds and sending it out the door and not messing with the rest of your resume, which you don't need to be doing. Trust me on this one. Okay. Let's take back a lot of your time and let's get that customization streamlined, and let's focus more on Who do you want to work for, and how do we connect with them? Because that's actually what's going to get you hired, not your resume. Yeah. Awesome. You guys are amazing. Very, very good. Awesome. I'm so glad, folks. Let's see. Just checking to see questions. There's so many right. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you guys are finding it helpful. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. Whew. So I am going to, this has been my, what did you think, everyone? Tell me the truth. What did you think about this live? This is JT Talks Jobs. Did you find it helpful? Will you do me a favor right now? What was your aha moment today? The whole reason I go live, the whole reason is because you're going to hear something that you didn't know you needed to know. We all pay a dumb tax. That's what I'm going to call it, the dumb tax. I usually call it the ignorance tax, but I just think it's easier to be honest. We all pay a dumb tax. And what I mean by that, me too, everyone. When we're trying to do things in our life, there's something we don't know. And when we learn it, when the aha moment goes off, when the light bulb goes off, we move forward. Everyone pays down a dumb tax in something they're trying to achieve. So if you're trying to get a new job or pivot in your career, there's a bunch of stuff you don't know that you need to know. And when you learn it, you pay down the dumb tax, you get smarter and you get closer. You come to sessions like this because we're going to share something. Somebody's going to ask a question. You're going to go, I didn't even know to ask that. And then you're going to hear the answer and go, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Right? That's why you do this. That's why I built Work It Daily. We go live 6 times a week in there. Right? And you can watch all the recordings. We record them all. And all of our stuff is on video so that you can just listen to it. Right? We get it. That you're going to hear things and it's going to be like ding, 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 ding. I know what to do now. Here I go. I just got smarter. I just paid down my dumb tax. Is that making sense? Yes? Good, good. I'm so excited that you guys are getting this because you invested today. You invested time. And when you invest time, what does that mean? It means you believe in yourself. That makes me really happy. You took time. You could have been doing a million other things today. Instead, you took the time to listen today. That means something. And I'm proud of you for that. I'm glad. Thank you for the investment. Now, are you ready to invest more with me? More time. More time. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. If you're still here at this point, here's what I'm going to do. For the next 24 hours, I will turn on the code TikTok 10, TIKTOK10. That's my super secret code. All right. I turn it on and off inside the platform when I do these lives. If you go over right now to get your 7-day free trial, think about it. You can watch the videos over the weekend. You can be with me next week. You can cancel at any time. There's no sign up fee. You get it free for 7 days. And you put in TikTok 10 right now, it'll also take $10 a month off any membership. And memberships, again, you can sign up for a month and quit. To give you an idea, standard membership is $29 a month. You could sign up right now and then only pay $19 a month after 7 days. If you use TikTok 10, it'll be good for 24 hours. Then it's gone. Okay. But I'm doing that because I want you to invest more time. And by time, I mean like 15 minutes a day listening to a video. This is not a full-time thing. I want you living your life. I just want you being more efficient with the time you invest in learning. The time that you spend paying down the dumb tax, I want it to be as useful as possible. And the only way to do that is to get you in a program that has been highly designed and curated to teach you what you need to know super fast in video format, right? So I hope you will come and take me up on that special offer today because you made it this far. You're already in the zone. Let's get organized. Let's get you into the job search course. Let's get you moving. It's time. It's time to do it. Awesome. All right. Thank you for my inaugural live on all the platforms. I will be back next week, right? And I will work with all of you next week on the lives. I never know when I'm going live. It just varies. So if you follow me, it'll notify you. That's always good. But if you always want to know when I'm going live 6 times a week and you want to attend those privately, go over and grab a 7-day free trial to Work It Daily. There's a calendar. You RSVP. We send you notifications. You can watch the recording. So if you really want to be dialed in, Work It Daily. Otherwise, I just go live when I can. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And by the way, that TikTok 10 applies to all membership levels, including the one working with me. Cool. All right. Love you all. Well, okay, by the way, Nicole just said it best. Nicole said, I just cleaned both my bathrooms while listening to you. That's what I'm talking about, Nicole. That's the multitasking of Work It Daily. You all could be doing chores and crushing your job search and going after your career dreams That is what I want to hear. That might have been the best comment I've seen on my live. Nicole, mwah. That's what I want to hear. Literally what I want to hear. Awesome. Okay. You guys have been the best. Thank you so much. Hopefully I'll see you all next week. Yes? Okay. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.